faithfully delivering value by interpreting great books from around the world. Hello, this is Sally talking books. Today, I'm interpreting the book The Innovators for you. Through this book, you'll gain a deep understanding of the most important innovators in the digital age and uncover the secrets of technological innovation through their stories. The author of this book is Walter Isaacson, the former editor-in-chief of Time magazine. He was also the former chairman and CEO of CNN, focusing on studying innovators in tech, and he's written popular biographies of Steve Jobs and Albert Einstein. The Innovators tells the stories of the most important innovations in computing and the internet since the 19th century and their creators, making it an epic saga of the digital age. In this epic, Walter discovered 3 laws of innovation that always shine. First, innovation comes from the intersection of technology and humanities. Second, innovation is the result of collaboration. Third, innovators are often product people who blend creative engineering with business to change the world through products. All right, so now let's dive into the first law. Innovation comes from the combination of technology and humanities. Innovators often stand at the crossroads of tech and humanities, blending these mindsets to drive change in the world. The book's first protagonist, Ada, is a prime example. She's considered the first computer programmer. To honor her achievements, the British Computer Society awards an Ada-named prize annually. There's also a computer programming language called Ada. So Ada had a legendary background. She was the daughter of the famous poet. As Byron's daughter, she inherited his romantic spirit. And her mother had a strong math education. So from a young age, her mother had her study math, leading to a constant clash of artistic genes and rational talent in Ada. Even as a child, she wrote imaginative phrases like the wine-red sea and saw math as a language to depict the universe's harmony. At age 12, Ada started pondering how humans could fly. She spent endless hours studying, then began crafting wings, researching birds and anatomy, and even compiled her findings into a book. In Ada's era, Romanticism flourished in literature, while the Industrial Revolution sparked new innovations. Romantic sensibility met with tech fervor. In Ada, it all fused together. She called her idea poetic science. By a chance encounter, Ada met the inventor. At that time, during the booming Industrial Revolution, Babbage had to handle massive calculations that were very labor-intensive. Babbage invented a hand-cranked computing machine that could automatically process calculations of different functions according to the designer's intent. Back then, others didn't think much of the analytical engine, seeing it as an absurd joke. But Ada was different. She thought it was an amazing invention. Ada and Babbage became close friends despite their age gap, and they started collaborating on research. In 1840, their research work took a positive turn. Babbage presented his analytical engine at various conferences multiple times and finally gained some support. And a mathematician edited an introductory manuscript for this precision calculating instrument. Since the manuscript was in French, which limited its reach, Ada translated it into English. This was a unique translation, worthy of being recorded in history. Ada translated the 245-page original into a 542-page work, with the extra content added as annotations. These annotations contained Ada's brilliant ideas, which clearly showed the blend of humanities and technology. First, Ada was the pioneer in proposing the concept of programming. Simply put, this machine could not only perform the analytical engine's pre-designed functions, but also add new capabilities based on different programs written later. And, for example, building on the analytical engine, Ada designed many punch cards. With these, the engine could handle more diverse and complex calculations, like trigonometric functions and series multiplications. Because of this, Ada is hailed as the first programmer. Ada's inspiration for punch cards came from the looms in the textile industry at that time. Ada always loved looms that could weave intricate patterns and was especially fond of artistic jacquard designs. She even drew mechanical diagrams of looms herself. She wrote that just as looms could weave lace and leaves, the analytical engine could also weave patterns with trees. Ada's vision transformed the analytical engine from having just a single calculation function to being extensible, allowing programs to be added to continually enhance its capabilities. This was already very close to the modern general purpose computer, meaning close to the computers we use today. And this concept predated the birth of general purpose computers by over 100 years. The second brilliant idea in Ada's annotations was the concept of digitization. Babbage invented the analytical engine, but his understanding of it remained limited to numerical calculations. Unlike Babbage, Ada believed any content, numbers, text, music, images, could be stored and processed by machines like the analytical engine, and even logic itself could be handled. As long as these contents could be expressed symbolically, this represented a conceptual leap, the embryonic form of digitization. The initial spark for this breakthrough concept came from Ada's wildly imaginative thinking. How could machines be used for painting, composing music, or writing poetry? This imagination was extraordinarily bold, yet it perfectly aligns with today's trend of blending technology and art over a century later. Today, writing, composing, and painting are all basic computer functions. Finally, in these annotations, Ada raised a crucial question that directly addresses today's field of artificial intelligence. That is, can machines think? Ada believed machines couldn't think independently. Though capable of many tasks, they couldn't create actively, only follow instructions. Over a century later, Alan Turing, father of computing, refuted this by proposing the Turing test to determine machine thinking capability. Yet this question remains unresolved and is still among computing's most thought-provoking philosophical dilemmas. As the first innovator featured in the book, Ada launched the digital age epic, the foundational figure who propelled the analytical engine into computing's dawn, all through integrating science and humanities. There are many more innovation cases involving the blend of science and humanities. For instance, the internet's birth connects to American hippie culture. In the 1970s, within the countercultural hippie movement opposing mainstream society, an ideological branch emerged: resistance against political centralization. Thus, technically skilled hippies formed civilian organizations. They advocated establishing indiscriminate communication channels, whether through pens, phones, or computers, to return public discourse rights to the people. The English name for the internet is World Wide Web, literally meaning global information network. That was precisely its original intention. Another example, Apple's co-founder Steve Jobs frequently used the same slide to conclude his product launches. On the large screen behind him, a street sign often appeared, marking the crossroads of humanities and technology. In 2011, Jobs took the stage for his final product announcement. Standing at the center of this image, he declared that Apple's DNA meant technology alone wasn't enough. We firmly believe it's the marriage of technology and the humanities that makes our hearts sing. And that concludes our discussion of the first law. Innovators emerge from the fusion of technology and humanities. Next, let's explore the second law. Innovation is often the result of collaboration. In movies or books, you often see this scenario play out. In a basement, attic, or garage, a lone individual has a sudden eureka moment. A light bulb flashes above their head, and an invention is born. Actually, such scenes are just cinematic fantasies. Most milestone innovations in tech history resulted from teamwork. This collaboration means both internal research teamwork and cross-sector partnerships among universities, businesses, and governments. First, let's examine how internal research collaboration drives innovation. Bell Lab's invention of the transistor perfectly illustrates this. This renowned American lab won 8 Nobel Prizes in physics and chemistry. The transistor emerged from 3 Bell Labs scientists' collaboration. They complemented each other's strengths. For this innovation, they won the 1947 Nobel Prize in Physics. Oh, Bell Labs transistor research actually began back in the 1930s. It brought together theoretical physicists, experimentalists, material scientists, engineers, entrepreneurs, and even telephone line repairmen with grease-stained fingernails. The leader was Kelly. A visionary leader, he argued that nurturing brilliant scientists and fostering teamwork weren't conflicting goals. Innovation should advance as an institution-wide mission, not rely solely on lone geniuses tinkering in garages or attics. Guided by this philosophy, Kelly transformed Bell Labs into an interconnected workspace with long corridors linking buildings across departments. These gradually became researchers' favorite spot. Here, scientists engaged in intense exchanges and debates. It was in this environment that the transistor was born. The transistor, a device managing electrical signals, is hailed as one of modern history's greatest inventions, comparable in importance to the printing press, automobiles, and telephones. It's the fundamental unit of integrated chips. Without transistors, there'd be no computer chips or the personal computers everyone uses today. Beyond computer chips, it's also the critical component in all modern electronics, controlling switches and key circuits. Before transistors, vacuum tubes handled these functions. But vacuum tubes had obvious flaws. They were bulky, power-hungry, short-lived, and notoriously complex to manufacture. These drawbacks also hindered improvements in related electronic devices. Scientists had long sought better alternatives to vacuum tubes, making this a priority project at Bell Labs. William Shockley led this project as the team's core theorist, guiding the entire group's work. A quantum physics genius, colleagues said, Shockley could visualize electron movements like a choreographer designs dance steps. Using his remarkable theoretical insight, Shockley proposed semiconductors could replace vacuum tubes for receiving electrical signals, the foundational hypothesis for transistors. But this hypothesis wasn't immediately proven. When Shockley hit experimental roadblocks, he brought in Bardeen and Bratton. These two complemented each other perfectly. One quiet and meticulous, the other decisive and daring in experimentation. Building on Shockley's hypothesis, they tirelessly modified experimental conditions. Countless days and nights, they worked side by side like a lyricist and composer, sharing a piano bench, immersed and crafting their duet. Shockley regularly joined their Blackboard sessions, where they'd write key ideas and experimental steps, then refine them collaboratively. And many crucial insights emerged during this very process. In such collaborative efforts, they eventually chose silicon-germanium semiconductors as experimental subjects, explored various combinations, and finally developed an upgraded replacement for vacuum tubes. And transistors efficiently amplify electrical signals using semiconductors, being 10 times smaller and 100 times more reliable than vacuum tubes, and they work instantly without preheating. As Shockley noted, this achievement is credited to Bell Labs gathering talents from multiple scientific fields and harnessing their unique gifts. The birth of innovation. Beyond relying on scientists' full cooperation in research teams, broader social forces must also participate. In this regard, American scientist Vannevar Bush made significant contributions and set an example. He facilitated multi-party collaboration among the U.S. military, government led by the White House, private enterprises, and universities. After the 1940s, American technological innovation played a huge driving role. In this sense, author Walter wrote that In the US, no one has surpassed Vannevar Bush in influencing technological development. So, what kind of person was Bush exactly? Specifically, what work did he do to promote collaboration among government, businesses, and universities? Vannevar Bush was a professor at MIT, and the differential analyzer he invented in 1931 was the prototype of analog computers. Beyond being a scientist, influential profile, Bush was a star in politics and business. He founded the American IT company Raytheon and served as the tech chief of U.S. military institutions during 211. During 122, concerned about U.S. military technology lagging, Bush and Harvard's president convinced President Roosevelt to establish the National Defense Research Committee and U.S. Military Science Institute, leading the Manhattan Project to develop the atomic bomb, earning Bush the title Father of the Atomic Bomb. This played a key role in ending 2WI and made Bush realize the importance of military and government in technology. After World War II, Bush wrote a report submitted to the U.S. president urging government collaboration with universities and businesses to fund basic science research. Based on this report, the U.S. established the National Science Foundation, which operates as a government agency but is managed by an independent committee of universities, businesses, and political leaders. From then on, hybrid research centers built on the government business university triad flourished, becoming pillars of technological innovation. The two most important institutions were Lincoln Laboratory and BBN, a research firm both jointly founded by universities and corporations. Among them was MIT professor J.C.R. Licklider, who worked as an engineer at both institutions and became a pivotal figure in the Internet's creation. In 1951, with military funding, Licklider helped establish Lincoln Laboratory. A key mission-critical focus. A key mission was developing automated air defense systems so the U.S. military could predict enemy movements and respond swiftly. To enhance system efficiency, Lincoln Lab decided to improve human-computer interfaces, enabling commanders to see enemy movements clearly on screens. What sounds simple today was a monumental engineering feat back then. Uh, it required connecting NORAD's databases with frontline computers to process massive information flows. Licklider ultimately led the lab to achieve this goal. He even envisioned human brains and computers soon collaborating closely, combining to think in unprecedented ways and process data beyond existing capabilities. Later, Licklider was transferred to Washington to lead information processing at the U.S. Department of Defense. In April 1963, a memo outlined his intergalactic computer network concept, linking centers via a common language, essentially predicting the Internet's birth. In 1969, Licklider's vision materialized when two Defense Department colleagues created ARPANET. ARPANET, the modern Internet, was built directly upon ARPANET's technological foundation. However, ARPANET was a restricted network. Only approved institutions could access its information. So how did ARPANET evolve into the Internet? This brings us to another crucial politician. While scientists focused on research, Al Gore simultaneously advanced information sharing rights politically. Starting in 1986, Gore explored creating supercomputer centers, increasing bandwidth, and opening networks to more users. He held multiple hearings that led to the High Performance Computing Act, allowing commercial networks to connect with research networks. In 1992, after becoming vice president, Gore pushed through the National Information Infrastructure Act. This act opened the internet to the public, demonstrating the second law of innovation. Innovation stems from collaboration. Bell Labs trio collaborated to invent transistors, while government, business, university partnerships showed broader cooperation. Such multi-force collaboration profoundly impacts society-wide technological progress. The Internet's birth clearly reflects this cooperative importance. All right, now let's explore the third law. Most innovators are product people. While tech breakthroughs matter, they're not enough alone. True world changers fuse ideas and tech into beloved products that advance society. Apple II's creation perfectly showcases Jobs' product maker qualities. Pre Apple II, computers were geek toys, requiring assembly with exposed components intimidating average users. Jobs decided to change this reality. He believed next gen PCs should function like appliances, fully assembled with stylish casings. User centric design, everything from power supply to software, keyboard to display, must integrate seamlessly. So he researched processor specs to shrink components and the overall device. Meanwhile, he devoted immense time to product design and engineering. He wanted products not just meeting needs, but radiating vitality and beauty that touch souls. He often visited Macy's to study popular home appliances, aiming to create a personal computer as beloved as household devices. Ultimately, Jobs created a computer completely unlike any before it. Visually, the Apple II resembled household appliances more than electronic equipment, blending seamlessly whether on home desks or classroom tables. This product philosophy greatly expanded the personal computer's user base and market reach. For users, the Apple II was incredibly simple. Fully integrated hardware and software, required no assembly or coding knowledge. Even those without computer knowledge could operate it effortlessly. From a market perspective, the business savvy Jobs blended product experience with marketing to ignite consumer desire. Let's witness the debut of Jobs' meticulously designed Apple II. In April 1977, America's first computer expo opened on the West Coast, marking the Apple II's world premiere. To secure prime positioning, Apple booked the entrance-facing booth early, investing heavily in design to showcase the user experience. This unprecedented simplicity caused a sensation, capturing everyone's attention at the expo. The Apple II sold 100,000 units in under 3 years. Throughout the 1980s, it became U.S. education's standard computer. Some still function in classrooms today. The Apple II's creation embodied three essential traits of product innovators: brilliant ideas, engineering execution, and business acumen to commercialize them. First, he defined the creative vision, building a personal computer everyone would love. Second, he spearheaded engineering design, insisting on simplicity and beauty for optimal user experience. Finally, the business minded Jobs crafted marketing campaigns that established the product's fame. If Jobs started from market and product to drive tech innovation, then Google's co founder Larry Page took the opposite approach. He first invented a revolutionary technology, then, through arduous exploration, learned to transform it into a user friendly product, achieving commercial success. Larry Page graduated from Stanford, where his doctoral thesis focused on comparing website importance. Today, this topic seems unremarkable since we have ample data and dimensions for comparison. But back then, the internet was just emerging. People could only find web pages by typing specific IP addresses. So, Page wondered, could there be a way to help people find the highest quality pages? This problem wasn't easy to solve. Online, you could find links to pages but couldn't know click counts or how users perceive their quality. One night, Page woke with an idea: download the entire World Wide Web, save just the links, and analyze all data. Though it sounded fantastical, he actually pursued it. He built a database to backtrace links, tracking each page's sources. Recording the entire web was monumental. Even in 1996, there were 100,000 websites, 10 million documents, nearly a billion links, all growing exponentially. Fortunately, Page had the courage to tackle it. Innovative breakthrough. Page designed a web crawler, starting from his homepage, that tracked every encountered link. The spider, rapidly traversing the web, saved each hyperlink's text, source, and corresponding page titles. This bold project attracted another genius, Sergey Brin, with extraordinary mathematical talent. Brin was seeking a doctoral thesis topic and immediately partnered with Page, joining the research. Initially, neither realized they were building an internet product. As the project advanced, they realized this importance ranked web page index could become a high-quality search engine. This was Google's origin story. Next, Page and Brin improved Google's user experience in two key ways to build user habits. First, they built superior network bandwidth, handling, and storage capacity than competitors, boosting database processing speed. Second, they obsessively studied user behavior to continuously refine their algorithm. For example, if users didn't return to search after clicking the top result, it meant they'd found what they needed. If they immediately modified keywords, it signaled dissatisfaction with results. Engineers would then analyze modified keywords to understand users' true intent. By 1998, their database contained 518 million hyperlinks, nearly one-sixth of the web's estimated 3 billion links. Page didn't want Google to stay an academic project. He aimed to make it a mainstream product quickly. He said, if you have an invention you believe in, you want it used by as many people as soon as possible. Stanford's president, John Hennessy, strongly endorsed this philosophy. He stated, sometimes the best way to change the world isn't writing papers, but turning trusted technology into real products. Page and Brin pitched their search tech to Yahoo and others for licensing. Companies offered $1 million, but Page deemed it too low, seeing they undervalued search. So they decided to start their own company. Thus, Google was officially founded. As Page noted, the best leaders deeply understand engineering and product design. Google's birth showcases product maker traits in action. Page's ingenious idea evolved into an accessible tool through his and Brin's R&D efforts. Finally, they commercialized the research by establishing Google. We now live in a rapidly transforming digital age. The book, The Innovators, uncovers the secrets of digital age innovation, where technology and humanities weave genius ideas. Scientists, companies, and governments collaborate with a sharing spirit, driving creative leaps in tech. Innovators with product maker qualities transform technological progress into society-impacting products. Only by understanding these innovators' essence can we better grasp the spirit of the internet. All right, that concludes our interpretation of The Innovators. Reading notes are below the audio. See you tomorrow.